Welcome to the Make and Design Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life.
Okay, let's talk about the possibility conundrum. I hear this all the time from people who come into Design Suite during the first month. And that's like, they say to me, I had no idea all of this was possible. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy what you don't know because you simply haven't seen it. So I want to talk about, and I've got my phone here because you guys, like, seriously, I'm afraid I'm going to mess up the details of this, but this is a story I tell very often because I think it very much shows how most of the time we don't realize what's possible just because we haven't seen it done, right? So this is, I love running. I'm a runner. I try to run a couple of half marathons every year. And it's not because I'm a good runner. It's just because I think it's a good challenge for me to keep up as long as I can possibly do it. But in May of 1954, Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile. And this is one of those things that had been like a very long time. No one had broken the 4-minute mile, where he actually ran in a mile and he beat it by 4 minutes. And I think he did it by, it was like barely a second, if that. So it was just like 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Before that, everybody said it was impossible to run a mile in less than 4 minutes. And it had been a very long time. I want to say like half a century. Like no one had beat it, okay? Not only did he beat it under circumstances that were not crazy or big. So here's the funny thing. It took like a century for someone to beat it. So you would think it would take another century before like anyone would beat the 3 minute and 59 second. Within, it was like 40 days. I can't even remember how many days. It was John Landy, I believe. 46 days, you guys. 46 days later, somebody else beat Roger's time, and he did it in 3:58. And it's just by simply seeing that it is possible that people suddenly go, I can totally do that, right? Within the next year, like a year from then, us in a single race, 3 runners beat the 4-minute time. So once people have the idea that something is possible, they feel like they can do it. What are you doing in your life right now to really understand what the possibilities are? What I find is that most people don't put themselves in the way of knowledge, of education, of people that are doing crazy and cool things. And because they don't build those networks of people that they're hanging out with, instead they're kind of comfortable in their own space, what happens is they have no idea what possibilities there really are. Really and truly. They have no idea what's possible. We have in our handbook, we have like all of these different roadmaps you can go on, and it's just like, you can go on this roadmap and this roadmap and this roadmap, and we have like the fun roadmap. And people will look at it and be like, I had no idea that you could do all these different things. And I was like, you know what the crazy thing is? What I have in our handbook, it's the bare minimum. It's not even like all the other things that I've experienced and seen people make lots of money doing. And, I really felt, I've got 2 teenage daughters and then a son who's still in elementary school. And one of the things that I found so promising is that once I started expanding my network, I started realizing what the possibilities were for my children. Very often I hear of, especially aspiring designers who are coming back to this after many years. They will say, so-and-so in art school told me I would never make money, I would never be good enough, so I decided to get a degree in engineering. Or, someone told me along the way that this wasn't good enough, or my parents said, please don't get an art degree, you'll never be able to do anything with it, which, by the way, it kind of still exists. Like this whole idea that if you get an art degree, you can't do anything with it. It's because we learn art. We don't learn how to make money in college. And that's a whole different topic, which at some point I'm sure I'll address. But the bottom line is, if you knew there was a way to make money with your art, wouldn't you do it? The problem is that most of the time, people in those departments don't even understand what the possibilities are. And very often, I don't see that parents understand what the possibilities are. Both of my girls want to get in creative careers. One of them wants to be an animator. She's at a community college doing animation right now. I was just like, just take all the classes, just learn everything you can learn. Am I worried about her making money? Not even a tiny bit, because I know what the possibilities are for an animator, and they're not what everybody thinks they have to be. Everybody thinks an animator needs to go work for Disney, or they need to go work for DreamWorks or whatever. There are so many more jobs than that, you guys. And there are different things that people don't realize or understand. And because they don't understand it, they don't even know that the possibility exists. I like living in a world where the possibility is everything. It's everything. And all it is by knowing one or two people who are doing it and understanding what they were going to do. So this happened with my middle daughter. She wants to be a creative writer. She wants to write novels, which how many of you have a kid who wants to write and you go get another degree, not just an English degree, so that you have a skill set, right? So we're kind of the opposite. We're just like, go do all the writing, go do everything you can. Because guess what? In every creative field, this is the craziest thing, you guys. Every creative field works just like design. It is simply knowing how to do the skill well enough and then knowing how to sell it. Those two things. That's it. So there's no good reason you can't do something in a creative field and figure out the sales that go with it. And very often it's just seeing someone else do it. So in one of my masterminds, I met someone who was a creative writer. She was an author, and she showed me her system. And I was like, wait, that's it? It's literally the kind of the same system we use in design. And she was like, yeah, it's totally the same system. She makes $500,000 a year. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this system that I use even in design, and we're going to show my daughters how to do it so that they can build their careers. Guys, the possibilities are endless, and the only gap you have is usually knowledge. That's it. Which, guess what? In this day and age, you can pay for. It's kind of insane. How did I get mine? I paid for it. I was in a mastermind that cost me a lot of money, and it allowed me to meet people so I could find out how everybody else was doing their businesses and how they were doing it. It opened my mind. I was blown away by what people were doing. And by being blown away by that, I was able to internalize and figure out, how do I expand my own design business? How do I teach my daughters to build their businesses? Or if they don't want to have businesses, how do I get them jobs that are related to their areas of study that will make them money? That's a little bit off the beaten track. We live in the most amazing time. And I don't think people have really realized it. Other than the fact that we just recently, the buzzword is all AI and people are stressed about it. I'm like, stop being stressed about it. Be excited about it. There is so much here. There's so much here. We live in a day and age where the internet has made all kinds of jobs incredibly possible. It's made it so that I can teach people in Australia and in England, right? In a way that I could have never done in my university classroom when it was in person. So the power of what we can do now and the power of how many jobs there are in the creative field, if you're willing to make it, figure it out, and do some of the things you've heard me say on this podcast, consistency, networking, get an education. There are things you should be doing to get yourself there. You just have to put in the effort and decide you want it bad enough. And most people I find don't really want it bad enough. They want to be comfortable with the idea of it and the dream of it. What I hear in my program, I have designers tell me consistently, I am living my dream life. Why? Because they're actually putting in the steps and actions to be designers. All right? That's all you have to do. All right? So this whole idea of possibility, open yourself up to it. Find ways to find out what the possibilities are. The more possibilities we find out, the more that becomes possible for us. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. I've experienced it firsthand in my life, especially as I've met people who've done things that I never expected was possible and how I have figured out how to model them. You can do the same. It's an amazing world we live in. Just got to take advantage of it. And guess what? You're creatives. You know better than being stuck in a box. And that's the barriers that we create for ourselves. You're so creative that you're going to find ways to find those possibilities. I'm so excited for what you really can accomplish by doing that. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me this week. I will love it if you're on the YouTube channel to subscribe to the channel. It's just youtube.com/Carina Gardner. If you are hanging out on my podcast, come on over to the YouTube channel. If you're on the podcast, please leave me a review. It is so helpful to the podcast and for getting my information out there so that people can learn how to become successful, profitable designers.
Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.